Grand Rising, Nico.
Say again, I'm sorry.
Grand Rising.
Grand Rising. I like that version of it. Say again, I'm sorry. Give me one second
Grand
here. Let me
Rising.
just get this all muted and all right. Guys, we are ready to go. Good morning, good morning. Hey, hey, hey. All right. Welcome, welcome. Hope you guys had a good weekend. Looks like there's some movement happening. Let's go live here and share the whole screen. All right, so what I see in the Discord, I put over the last couple of days, an XRP signal long here on the 18th, which was like Thursday or Friday. Can't even remember what day that was. Friday. And it was looking bullish, bull flag breaking out to the upside. And then what happened was, I'm still in that trade. It did break out. It is kind of going up. Let's see what it's looking like right now. Hard to tell. Let me go back to that and see what time frame. That was the 1 hour. That was this at the time. It did kind of break out to the upside here and then retest this floor, this resistance. Started to climb up. So we should be in profit. Those of you who took that signal, I am up a little bit on that one. And my stop loss is down here. I am going to move that up. I'm going to move it right up under my entry for now. I could move, I'm just going to move it right into profit just to get it there because we have this long wick down right here. And if it does come back down, it's probably going to retest these levels right here. This was the support that it came down and retested right here. Popped up higher, one up here, popped through that. If it does come down, it's probably going to come down and retest this area. So I could probably move my stop loss up a little further into profit right here. Now I just moved it to $3.52 on XRP. What else am I in? I did have an ETH long as well. That was a little bit more uncertain as we were breaking the downside of this upward trending resistance line right here on Ethereum. I did not give a signal for this. This was a little riskier because Bitcoin was still potentially dropping. They were kind of correlating, but Ethereum's had its own little movement lately, and it has been climbing from the 2,900. It hit a double top here. We talked about this on the last call on Friday, double top here. And I said that if it breaks to the upside, then we would be long. If it broke to the downside, we'd probably go short. But what it did is it broke to the downside and bounced here. And this is an important line. Let's go to the higher time frame. Basically, that was the overall. Let me get rid of some of these lines here. That was the overall, geez, look, let me just get rid of all this. We did have kind of a downward trending resistance here. This was the time that we popped above it, double topped and fell right back below. We never held as support here. We went above it, fell below, went above it, fell below, and then retested as resistance here. So that's why I'm drawing a line there. It was a top, and a top here. We came back below and retested. And here we went through it. And if we go on more of a lower time frame here, we went through it and retested as support and started to climb. So that's why I went long here on the breakout, or as soon as it broke higher than these highs right here before it broke out. I wasn't in any position to type up a signal and wasn't really sure looking, because when you're on your phone, guys, it definitely looks different than this. I'm on a big computer right now, and but it did retest here, and I think I might have went long somewhere in here very prematurely, and it broke to the downside and then came up. I figured over the weekend going into Sunday we might have some down movements like we see in Bitcoin, and then come Monday things were still looking bullish to me because we were on an upward trending ride here with everything. And we did wick up right to that level, broke through and retested right here. Broke through, retested, and possibly climbing. Now, we are making what appears to be higher highs. You could probably even take this from a different touch point here and just draw a support line. I would say as long as it stays above that, but we do have a little bit higher high here. It's not really shooting up, and it is certainly possible to fall back below. But I think with the overall trend in the market, we pop up, we go sideways for a little while, we pop up, we go sideways, we pop up, we could go sideways. But let's go look at Bitcoin because it's kind of the ship, it's kind of the tide rising all tides right now. And you get rid of this head and shoulders here. There was definitely a head and shoulders. It didn't break to the downside. It did come down a little bit. And it all just depends on how you drew this. Now, there's a couple ways to look at this. This could either be a head and shoulder pattern. It could be a sideways channel. And it could also be where we had a full-on bullish flag. Let's just get rid of some of those other things here. We definitely had lower highs, and this is the Bitcoin margin chart. And if I put this right here, it does look like we wicked above it and came back below. But on the US, I'm sorry, this is USDT. On the USDT, it actually looked like before we went through this, if I touch all the tops, which was here, here, and here, it looks like we went through it and came down and retested as support and bounced. And it looks like it's coming back down to retest again. Whether it's going to hold or not is another story. Let's just tighten this up a little bit. However, on the USD on the Bitcoin margin chart, that's USDT. On the coin M, it does look a little different. Let's go over there and look. Well, it doesn't look that much different to me, actually. This is so strange. On Bitcoin margin on my laptop, looks totally different. On my desktop, looks pretty much the same as USDT. But that's where we're at right now. If I put this to the very tippy tops of all of these, then maybe we didn't get above it. But before this went up, this was where we were, right? This was where we were, and that was the top, that was the top, that was the top. We hit the bottom again, we hit the top again, and broke through and retested as support. So to me, that's a little bit more accurate. I was saying in the Discord that for Bitcoin, this was on the 19th, that this was the downward trending channel. We were on our way up. We were on an upward trending support. We were either going to break to the top or we're going to break to the bottom and come back all the way down, possibly to this downward trending support. and or this line right here, which is kind of where we went to. Looks more like this. This is on my laptop, so it just looks a little, actually, this is on my cell phone, so it looks a little different. So we came up right here and we did break above and we're holding a support is what it looks like to me. So let's go back and look. If we take this line, let me get rid of this. This was a little bit of a bullish flag there, but if we get rid of that and we draw a downward trending support on the bottom here, touching this wick, this was resistance, resistance, breakthrough, support, hit a top, support, 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 hit a top, and this would be the bottom area of that channel, and probably down here in the one. I wouldn't go that low. I would say probably in the 114 zone. 115 zone if it were to break that floor, but it didn't. It didn't yet. It hit it a couple times. We were winding into an apex and from the floor, but not necessarily this downward trending channel. So it kind of broke to the upside. To me, it's holding, and I think because it's Monday and there is some positive energy in the markets all the way around, that we could see a pump to the upside here and come up here to retest all-time highs. This is the all-time high Bitcoin right here at 123,000. And I wouldn't be surprised if we made a run for that sometime today. Definitely this week. We have a couple resistance areas here. So if we start to climb, we're going to hit resistance here at 112. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, not 112, 120. And then this high up here would be the all-time high. If we get above that, what I'm thinking is it's probably the same. This overall upward trend right here will probably just continue. If we get above this and this, well, now we're gonna have new all-time highs, probably in the 125 to 130 range. And on the other hand, if this is the top, which it could also very well be, and we did not break this downward trending resistance, and we are still coming into an apex, then the apex could just be the floor, not this line, but the floor right here and here. Because we did hold support here. We did wick down to this line, but this line, other than this resistance and support, this line is still not 100% confirmed. We would need another touch point down here. So, but there is definitely a floor, and that is resistance here. You can see it right here, this green line. Resistance, resistance, breakthrough, support, 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 with a couple wicks through, but we never held underneath it. Every time we got below this, we came back above, below, came back above, and then held as support, support, and support. So that green line to me is the floor. Make it a thicker. And we are probably still in this apex. So I'm going to get rid of this line for now. I just wanted to show you all the different possible variations before, but we might not have broke out yet, but it could look more like this before we break out. Thanks, John. Any questions on that at the moment? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Any cryptos you want to look at?
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, I'm sorry, but I missed what your stop loss was on when you were on XRP. Would you mind just telling me what it
Yeah.
was? I appreciate it.
I moved it. I moved it into profit, but it's at right now. It's at $3.52. Let's just go look down here. XRP 352.98.
Oh, that's great. Same as mine. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. I'm a little negative on my Bitcoin long, but that's because I went in prematurely. And on my last signal for it, BTC coming up to retest and coming up to test and retest the overall downward trending resistance, which was this line here, coming up to test and retest. It went through it and is retesting on BTCM. It's just about to go through it. I mean, it's and retesting on BTCM. It's just about to go through it. I am long. The reason why I said that is because it does look different to me on USDT compared to USDM. It does look a little different. So my entry is not as good as the current situation. So in other words, I was already long from before, a little negative. Obviously, if you entered on this signal here, you would have had a better entry than me. As you can see, my entry is up here, whereas the price is somewhere down here. You don't have to enter that right now. In fact, you can wait for it to actually break out.
It's getting ready to hit your stop loss right now.
On Bitcoin or XRP. What are you talking about?
Bitcoin.
I don't think so. My stop loss is at 115. My stop loss is down here.
On your last post, I meant.
That was on my last post or the last screen I was just on.
The last post you just made is 117,500, I think.
Oh, that's for if you're going, if you were going to take this entry. I was already in it. As you can see up here, I said I'm already in this short. Your stop loss would be better than if you got in the entry, then yeah, it would hit your stop loss. You can move it, but I was way worse than that entry. I was way up here and I had my stop loss far away. Sometimes I know a lot of people are like, well, Nico, you're still in it and it hit my stop loss and you're still in it. But that's risky to have your stop loss far away. So I would rather have been taken out up here when I was wrong on the entry. And so anyway, the entry that I put in here is not where my trade is. My trade, I got in up here and went very negative here before it come back up. So once I saw it breaking out here is when I gave the signal. That was much safer for you guys. But it looks like it's falling back down. So let's just go back and look at the floor here because this could be where it's actually, this could be the actual top line here and it may not have broke out at all. It's definitely different on this computer that I'm on right now than it was my phone and my laptop. My laptop, it looked like this was, because this didn't exist when I gave the signal. It was this, boom, and then breaking here and then coming up and hitting this right here, even with this. And so once it broke through and came down to retest and started to climb, that's when I gave the signal. But as you can see, it did not make a higher high and it's falling back down. And so it leads me to believe if I move this up to even with these wicks and bring that over, then maybe we did not break out of that upward trend line yet. It all depends on where you put that line, but it was interesting how we hit resistance here and here, which would have been in perfect alignment with that line before I just altered it. Because these are wicks up and we hit it, and then fell. So it's very also much different when I'm giving signals. These signals right here, guys. This is all from my cell phone, so definitely looks different.
Hey,
Well,
Nico.
this is in the short term doesn't look good, guys, but we are we were holding support here, which was positive over the weekend. I was surprised we didn't fall through this on Sunday, yesterday. It doesn't mean we can't still, but this is kind of a bullish flag situation. It is kind of a overall bullish where we have a flat support and a downward trending ceiling. If you look at if you just look at any of the chart patterns that we have, you'll see that that is a bullish flag situation. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody had a question?
Yeah, Nico, we take a look at Ethereum as a possible short right now.
Yeah, I showed Ethereum when we first started the call, but
Oh, sorry.
I wouldn't say short. Let me just say, yeah, I mean, maybe it could be breaking this upward trending support, but the overall trend, guys, is bullish. The overall trend is upward trending right now. So I mean, if you're trying to, I mean, XRP has been on a rip for a while now, ever since Bitcoin broke out of the 112.
I had a quick question about like the Bitcoin dominance versus like XRP and Ethereum dominance. If you have any thoughts there.
I think Bitcoin is losing dominance. I don't have that right in front of me as Bill on. Someone else might have that information.
Yeah, I can look it up. I was drawing up a new XRP. So somebody posted in the chat that XRP never actually made it to 384. So I was running new fibs on it.
Okay.
56% is the dominant.
So it's down a
Thanks,
little. Yeah, there's some differentiating information out there online. XRP reached its all-time high of $3.65 on July 18, 2025. But then you'll see something that says 280 back in, well, on Coinbase it says 284, 285 or something in 2018.
Anthony Lee posted it in trade chat. Says the XRP ledger is fully transparent, and we know that no trades actually occurred at $3.84.
Okay, let's go.
The
Let's see. Coin.
Ripple's CTO debunked the idea that it happened on January 4th. He said it was a misreport stemming from aggregate exchange reporting, not real on-chain data.
Okay. So it was a report. It was not real.
I
And it
ran
was
new
in
fibs for
Korea
folks.
only.
Say that again.
It was in Korea only, that spike.
Interesting. Let's go back here. Yeah, that was it right there, January 2018. It says 336 here on CoinMarketCap. So I guess that would make this current price the highest here at 355 or 365. On Coinbase, this goes to like 385. It looks exactly the same as this, except for it's showing 385 as the price. And that's all I was going by. I really wasn't doing much more digging than that.
I did the same thing.
All right, good. So we're at as far as Ethereum goes, I'm long in my Ethereum trade right now. And I have a stop loss right under this support and resistance level right here. Resistance, 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 support. High, higher high, low, higher low so far. If this continues, then it will probably continue up. It depends on how long term of a trade you want to be in. Do you want to scalp and catch a little fall from here to here? Or do you want to not be that, that tight on trying to worry about it, because I think the overall trend, if we really put a tight upward trending support here, it could break through that. It looks like it's trying to, but keep in mind, that doesn't mean it's going to go down. Let's just watch. Let's just look at the last time we had a really tight upward trending. From here, boom, 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 boom. And we did break through it to the downside and only retested this support and then started to climb up. We could break. Now we have another one here. Let's just say that's it. It could break to the downside and test this resistance here. I mean, support, and then start to climb up again. So I'm not so sure that breaking even this upward trending support line is even a factor at this stage, because we've had it happen a couple times as we've been pumping. If you just go and look, every time we broke below, retested, you would expect a drop, but it went higher. And then if you take this and bring it to even here, support, when it kept going higher, broke to the downside, basically retested here, broke to the downside and retested. And then instead of dropping, it just curled and went higher. So right now we got a little bit of a wick down, but this could suck right back up and continue up. I'm not overly concerned with it because now I have my TPM profit, but if it does make a higher high here, then what you do is you keep, like right here was resistance, support. And then we have resistance, support. The next one, resistance, and it fell below that, but it did it here too, where it fell below. Didn't do it here. Here it fell. You know, I'm not so. The reason why normally I would look at some of these lines and say, yeah, it's going to break. If it breaks this, it's going to fall. But because we are now going into this phase where, Bitcoin is not only at new all-time highs, but getting ready to retest. We got Ethereum and XRP all hitting highs. What's the Ethereum all-time high right now? I don't even know. Let me go look.
I think it's around 4,800.
Yeah, we got other ways to go for that, but 4666 right here. Back in 2021, we hit 4,008 here in 2024 last year, and we are right. I mean, we're just about to hit that. Pretty confident that we're going to break this and get up to here. So I would rather be in a long position for that rather than trying to scout these little ups and down moves personally. But you're going to have to, like, if you're going to go long, if you're not in it yet and you're going to go long, I would wait for support. It would be better if it bounced and started to climb, bounced here and started to climb. So I would wait for hitting the support. In other words, you don't want to go long here or here, but here, maybe. Here, yes. Here, yes. Whenever we have a bounce on something that was previous support. But you definitely don't want your stop loss too close. I mean, if it does bounce here and start to climb, you can put your stop loss right under that, but just to minimize the loss if it drops back through, because that would be a change in direction. But this is not a change in direction. The overall trend is up, and I'm on the 1 hour. So if we go to the daily, you're not even going to see any of this. It's just going to look like a constant climb from down here when it broke out, just climb. So that's all bullish right now. Nothing but green candles. Weekly, it's just 1, 2, and now we're on our third green candle right here. Let's move this up here. This was this is 4,081 back in 2024. We double topped. We could be triple topping here. This is actually a better chart time frame to be on right here. We do have a broadening channel here. We've hit the top a couple times. We could triple top here. If it triple tops and doesn't get through this, then we could see another big fall back down. But since we're in the final stage of the bull market, I believe that we probably will see final breakout here. And if that happens, you know, then we're talking about a big pump on Bitcoin as well. And this could bring us to I don't know why these charts don't even go back that far on VMAX. Just so you guys know, also Coinbase has just announced perpetual futures trading on their platform, but only up to 10x leverage. So for those of you who would prefer to use a centralized exchange, you're welcome to do it now on Coinbase. Things are becoming a little bit more acceptable on even the centralized exchanges. I'm going to continue to use VMAX, and the fees are lower on VMAX, and the leverage availability is much higher, and it is decentralized, which to me is even better because more privacy. But for those of you who like centralization and like governed controlled trading accounts, watching over all your stuff, use Coinbase if you'd like. Up to 10x leverage now. Probably only on the majors as well, Bitcoin and Ethereum. In fact, let me just look at the email I just got from them. Bill XRP, yeah. Yeah, 2018. Strange. Joseph, scalp for now until I get my bearings. So you want to do the riskier thing until you understand what you're doing. Scalping is riskier. Yeah, Felisa, Coinbase's fee for futures contracts is 0.002. It's not that much, but it might be even more than FEMEX depending on what level you are in FEMEX. You might be talking about buying and transferring fees, but I'm talking about the in and out maker and taker fees for trading. If you ever have to sell Bitcoin for emergencies, for an emergency, the only reason I use Coinbase and pay the fee is because I can immediately transfer the proceeds to any number of places. Like I can transfer it to PayPal, I can transfer it to my bank, I can transfer it to my E-Trade account, I can transfer it to any bank, 6 different banks if I wanted to, like instantly. I can transfer it to debit cards. PayPal is the fastest, actually. You sell any crypto on Coinbase and you want to move it somewhere where it's available immediately, PayPal is the quickest. But then from PayPal, if you want to move it to your bank or anywhere else, you got another fee. You're going to have 2 fees. You're going to have a transaction fee from Coinbase to PayPal, and then another fee from PayPal to your bank. But you do get it in your possession faster. So if you have a debit card with PayPal, or you can just spend it right off of PayPal, you can do that. Another thing you can do, guys, is you can get the Coinbase debit card, and you can instead of selling to US dollars, you just transfer it to USDC inside of Coinbase, and you can spend it right off your debit card there if you need to pay a bill or do something like that.
What are the fees on Coinbase? I think, isn't crypto.com cheaper? It's only 1.49% to instantly add money from a debit card, or from a debit card.
Yeah.
Or if you use Apple Pay?
Yeah, guys, I apologize for not having a list of the least expensive or cheapest places. I don't necessarily look for that. When I'm making decisions, I don't go for cheapest. I go for most reliable. If I want gas in my car, I don't drive around for 10 hours looking for the cheapest gas station. I go to the one that's most convenient and I will pay more. In fact, I will pay twice as much per gallon if someone comes to my house and fills my car up, so I don't have to go anywhere. So I'm the wrong person to ask when it comes to saving money on things because I think my time is more valuable. And so when instead of looking for 10 different places to buy crypto to save a few dollars, I just buy the most safest way to get it as quickly as possible to get it to where I need it to go so that I can start making more money with it quicker. So I don't worry about those things. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't worry about those things. I'm just saying I don't. So I'm not the person to ask, but I'm sure Bill, somebody can put together a list. But Cash App, I did hear, might be a little bit less expensive than Coinbase.
Yeah, I use Cash App for my Bitcoin. I'll send Bitcoin back, sell it, and send it right to my bank. I can have it done in minutes, and the fees are lower than Coinbase for sure.
Yeah, Cash App is probably the fastest and quickest. And not only that, guys, but you can connect your bank to Cash App easily, and you can put money into your Cash App account very quickly and easily, instantly, and then you can send it to Phoemax or any place like that much faster. So and PayPal too, guys. PayPal is very fast. If you don't have a PayPal account, maybe you don't like PayPal or whatever. I've had them for years. I've never had any problems. I hear people that complain about problems with Coinbase and PayPal and all these things. I've never had issues with any of these places. I'm not saying you can't have issues with them. I just haven't. And so I have business accounts at PayPal. I have personal accounts, but it's just easy because they're crypto friendly. You can even hold Bitcoin there, and you can even transfer crypto from PayPal as well to Phoemax or Coinbase or anywhere. But you can also sell it instantly, goes right into your PayPal balance. You can transfer it to your bank instantly within seconds. So, I mean, to me, it's very convenient. And yes, there is a fee involved. That's the price you pay for all of that fast convenience of moving money around, right? But,
Yeah, I'm Cash App in and out.
yeah. Fees suck, guys, but if it wasn't for these companies allowing you to do it, you wouldn't be able to do it at all. So you gotta pay to play sometimes. You're paying to be in their sandbox, so to speak. They're providing the opportunity, they're providing the platforms, they're providing the ability to even do all this stuff. So they got to make their fees. I understand that some of them are ridiculously high compared to others, but you get what you pay for. There was an app, I think it was Voyager, I can't remember, a few years ago, and it was like very cheap, but so cheap that sometimes your crypto never sent or it just disappeared. That's how cheap it was.
I love your Nicoisms. So I was making a video this morning and I found myself using one of your Nicoisms, the one about being in a hot air balloon and going up above the ground. So yeah, I love them.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I always feel like need to give analogies because I think that sometimes we need to hear things put a different way to really understand it, but that's just my own. Sometimes I overdo it, but I appreciate it if you appreciate it. Some people it might
And
drive.
also, Nico, if you
Yeah.
are on Coinbase and you pay $21 a month and any things that you're selling, you don't really pay any fees for that.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, Rose. There is a membership for a Coinbase as
Yeah.
well. It's $20 a month or $21 a month, and there's no fees, I think, right?
No fees, yeah.
No fees at all for anything. So you got to weigh that out, guys. If you're using that service a lot, it's kind of like a Costco membership. It's kind of like any other place, you go to, if you're going to use the place a lot, then maybe that Amazon Direct or whatever, if you get shipments a lot, then maybe paying that membership fee saves you money over time. And so Coinbase does have that too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I personally have an account with Coinbase, and I've built a relationship with them over the years since they started because it was one of the first and most trusted centralized trading platforms or banks, basically crypto banks, and not really a trading account, but a crypto bank with their own wallet and all that stuff. But also it is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. It is probably the largest or second largest in the world, second to Binance. And I don't like Binance, so I just use Coinbase, but it's user friendly in the US because it is centralized and because it's a publicly traded company. Banks don't mind if you buy Bitcoin or crypto on Coinbase from your bank account. Most banks don't because they're the ones that I mean, Coinbase is the only one that's like compliant with all the, you know, banking regulations. Plus Chase Bank, for those of you who use Chase Bank, they're kind of in partnership. They're kind of in bed with Coinbase a little bit with the ETFs and all that stuff. So I'm not saying that, listen, guys, there is a thing, it's called not your keys, not your crypto, which basically means that if you have to log in and if you have to give your account number and get access, and that company, whoever has your account, can close anytime they want or block you from, you know, from withdrawing or tell you, sorry, your password's not working, then who's really in control of your crypto? You or them. They are. So just keep that in mind. There is that old saying, not your keys, not your crypto. And anytime you use a centralized exchange, you run the risk of them stopping you from doing something. And that is not just in crypto. That's the same everywhere. Wells Fargo, Chase Bank, Truist, any major bank can freeze your assets anytime. They can stop you from using your debit cards, your credit cards. They can stop you from walking into the bank and withdrawing funds anytime. Maybe it's never happened to you, but that doesn't mean they don't have a right or can't do it, because when you opened up your account with them, you basically signed over your rights for them to do that. And you don't realize it. And so the only safest way is the cold storage wallet. But the only problem with cold storage wallet is you can't trade from it. You have to literally transfer your money back out of it to like Femex or somewhere in order to actually use that money to trade to make more money. But if you're just sitting on crypto and you just want to hold it and accumulate it and wait for the value to go through the roof someday, then a cold storage wallet is your best bet for that. What that basically means is that it's in your possession. It's kind of like going to the bank back in the old days, going to the bank, taking the cash out, put it in a shoebox and burying it in your backyard. Only you know where it's at. No one has control of it except for you. You know, you can hide it. You can put it wherever you want. Or you have a gold bar or a silver coins or whatever, and you put that in a safe in your closet, or you put it in under your floor or something like that, right? That is the closest you're going to get in the real world with money. That's the closest you're going to get to being the only one in control of it. So if the bank shuts down and there's a run on the banks, you have a shoebox full of cash in your bedroom. If the banks go out of business or there's a run on the banks and everybody's banging on the door to get their money out, you already got some cash out to hold you over for a little while. That's the safest. And by the way, I recommend you all do that in addition to crypto. You should have some cash on the side just in case. And it should be in low denominations, 1s, 5s, and 10s, not 20s and 100s, not 50s and 100s. And there's a reason for that. You know, if the shit hits the fan, I don't like to talk about worst case scenarios, but if the shit hits the fan, guys, and the banks are shut down and the internet's down and whatever, and you can't use your debit cards or credit cards or your crypto or anything, what do you have as a medium of exchange in order to exchange with someone else for goods and services? Like if you need a candy bar at the 7-Eleven and they're not taking dollars anymore, or they don't have change for 100, you better have some ones. You better have some quarters and dimes and nickels, right? So not a bad idea to have bags of change and maybe lots of ones, a couple $100 worth of ones, or maybe $1,000 worth of 1s, 5s, and 10s. Just, you know, just think ahead like that. Now, is that extreme? I don't think so. Maybe building a bunker and having 10 years worth of food stored and saved up is extreme, but that person will be the one who's laughing last if the shit really hits the fan, right? Could this happen in America? Yes. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it couldn't. It's happened everywhere else in the world. It's happened everywhere else in the world. And I'm sure
it happens in microdoses whenever you have a natural disaster. When I was living in Houston after Hurricane Harvey, I made sure I took out cash from the ATM, and after the storm passed, we had power, but credit card machines didn't work. I was still able to buy stuff. Other people weren't. Yeah,
absolutely. It's better to be on the safe side there, guys. And then, you know, who knows if the economy collapses and the dollar crashes and then the internet goes down and there's a zombie apocalypse. I mean, maybe your cash, maybe the guy at the 7-Eleven is not going to take your cash. I don't know why the guy at the 7-Eleven would still be standing there at the 7-Eleven. There could be all hell broken out and people just looting at this point. But if they don't even take cash anymore, because what happened like in other countries like the ruble in Russia and some other places where the dollar crashed in value so fast that you could bring wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread. You probably heard these stories, and you couldn't even buy a loaf of bread with a wheelbarrow full of cash because the value of the dollar was crashing so fast. I think I have a $50 trillion bill from Zimbabwe, Africa, because when their value of their dollar crashed to zero. The money was useless. And they showed images of just paper dollars all over the streets. People were just throwing it on the ground because it couldn't buy anything anymore. I bought some of that currency online as just like a gag, not a gag gift, but just like as a memento to have a $50 trillion bill, $50 billion bill. That's how high the denominations had to get just to buy something, guys. It got so ridiculous. And could that happen? Yeah, it's happened. Well, just so you guys know, a currency, if you go back throughout time, throughout history, dominance of a currency, in other words, being the leader, the top dollar in the world, usually only lasts anywhere from 100 to 120 years. That's the most that any currency has ever reigned. And there's been many before the US dollar. There's been many before the US dollar. And the US dollar just happens to be the strongest currency in the world right now. And guess how long we've been the strongest currency? Past due for a collapse. Let me just put it that way. Past due. Because the average time is 100 to 120 years, and we've already been over that. So I'm not saying it's going to happen. You know, they keep printing more money. They keep taking control of other countries. We keep going in there and rechanging things around. And now Trump might be doing something that might change everything forever, which is switching over to digital currency and switching over to crypto. And that would change things. That could kick the can down the road for another 100 years for all I know. But the thing is, I don't know, and no one knows. So if the shit hits the fan and money isn't worth anything, then what are you going to trade for goods and services? Can openers might be the new medium of exchange, because you might have cans of food and you can't get into them, and someone comes by with a can opener and says, "Hey, I'll give you this can opener for your gold or whatever."
Question: if digital currency is the only currency in the future, and you have no more power, how would it work?
Well, he's trying to pass a law that the government can't turn off your crypto. That was the CBDC Act, where preventing the government from being able to control your crypto, continuing to allow it to be decentralized rather than centralized. Meaning, for instance, let's just say you've probably seen these movies. There's been movies out for the last 20 years like this, where you're in this future utopian world where if you break a law, or they think you're going to break a law, they might read your mind and see that you're about to commit a crime. And before you do it, they turn off your crypto so you can't even spend any money. They just go in your account and freeze it. So you go and use your debit card and it doesn't work. You go and use your little microchip or whatever. I'm not saying we're going to get to that point. I will never accept that myself. But the point is that who knows what our kids will accept over time, guys, because they're going to be conditioned over time to think things are normal. Right now, for those of you who are on this call who are over 40, 45, 50 years old, you already know that we're going to hell in a handbasket. You already know that things have changed drastically over the last 20 years. Like, not that long ago, guys, the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, there was no social media. There was none of this bullshit. There was no Instagram, TikTok, none of this stuff. There was no Wi-Fi. Okay. You turned your TV on, and if you want to go see your friends, you had to leave the house and go to their house and knock on their door. That's how it was. And grandparents, they had boxes full of cash. And no AI and none of that stuff, right? So, I mean, things are just getting strange. I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, technology is different. And when things change, people freak out. No one likes change. Just when they update the iOS on my cell phone and I have to update it, and all of a sudden my texting looks different, everything looks different, that pisses me off. I hate the change. But then you get used to the new change, and after a while, it's normal again. But that's just the way the society we live in. So things are constantly going to be supposedly improving, but is it really? AI and technology and all this stuff. Even Elon Musk is worried about it. I mean, he's basically saying that we let the genie out of the bag and we ain't coming back, and this is going to get kind of crazy after a while. I mean, look at on social media now. You don't even know what's real anymore. Videos of people talking, they're not really talking. AI models. There are AI models. Beautiful women that have Instagram and OnlyFans pages that make $100,000 a month, and they're not even real people, because dumb men are paying OnlyFans to watch some fake AI girl take her clothes off. This is the world we live in now. It's the dumbest shit in the world that's happening. No offense to any of you who are doing that. I'm just saying you might think you're actually watching someone real and don't even know that you're not. It's insane.
100 grand a month.
Oh yeah, some of them.
Uh,
And guess what? There's a guy who
how
created.
do I sign up?
There's a guy who
Here I am trying to trade crypto.
And there's a guy who created all the OnlyFans fake girl accounts, and he's the one making all the money. He's putting them to work. He's like a pimp for fake women.
There's only one guy doing that?
There's one guy doing a bunch of them right now or whatever. He's making almost $4 to $5 million a month right now doing it.
Oh my God.
And he's a dude. He shows the little blue screen or green screen in the background, and it's him doing everything the girl's doing, except he's a dude and everybody else sees a girl.
Oh, no way. That's insane.
I think I love myself too much.
There's pictures of these women, and there's a million comments underneath of these men saying, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You're the most beautiful girl I've ever seen." And I'm like, are these people idiots? Do they not know these are not even real?
It's crazy.
I mean,
yeah.
What is going on in this world? And so the truth is they don't know. That's the problem. Social media has gotten to the point where it's just so real, believable. I mean, even my poor mother sends me videos of UFOs. Did you see the UFO they caught? I'm like, Mom, that's AI.
It's not real. Yeah.
But it's like it's getting nutso out there, guys. So, and here's
what kind of computer and what kind of software do I have to have?
I don't know. That's someone else you got to talk to about that.
That's crazy, man. I'm just kidding, but
yeah.
Wow.
The problem, guys, is that if Jesus Christ himself came back and said, "I'm here, I'm back," no one would believe it. And they would probably kill him again, unfortunately. So this is the way things are in this world. And he probably already did several times and no one believed it. So
quick question, Nico, about holdings on PayPal. I have some XRP on PayPal in order to, I mean, just assuming that it's going to go to record levels once it becomes implemented more universally. Should I transfer the XRP over to Phoenix to avoid the scrutinization?
Let me just look here because I didn't know you could have XRP on PayPal.
Oh, not PayPal. It's on Coinbase. Sorry.
Ah, okay. Yeah. At first, I was like, "Oh, you can get XRP on PayPal." I didn't know.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Say that again. Should you?
I had AI models on the brain. Should I transfer my XRP holdings from Coinbase to Phoenix in order to avoid the the scrutinization sensations of taxes?
I mean, it's already it's hard to say. I think that if you're holding it, first of all, here's what I want to say about XRP, guys. I don't think you should be trying to catch a profit on selling it anytime soon.
No, not anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like, "Oh, when should I get out? When do you think the top is in so I can convert it and then, make the money and blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, well, guys, if you know what's really going on in the world right now, I don't know why any of you would want money. I don't know why any of you would want the dollar anymore when it's going down in value at the rate that it is and the crypto is going up in value. Why would you convert it back to a depreciating asset? So with that case, in that sense, though, yeah, but what good is XRP if it goes to $20 or $30 if I can't sell it and use it and take the money? You can collateralize it, you can borrow against it, and you can also stake it. There, guys, if you had $1 million of XRP and they're paying 2% a month, 1% a month, or 2% a month staking, then you could literally take an income stream for the rest of your life from that crypto. Borrow against it, use that money tax-free.
Right.
There's all kinds of things that you can do, but it just depends on what your goals are. If you're in make money mode because you need to pay bills or you need the money from the profit that you make to get by, that's a different story. I understand that. But if you're making a living and you're paying your bills from your income, from your job, from your business, and you want to grow wealth, that's a different story. Wealth is something that you need to like almost forget about for a little while. If XRP, I think XRP can get maybe to even $100, maybe even $1,000. If let me put it this way, if a lot of people don't think XRP can get to a certain amount because there's so much of it and the market cap would have to be insane. That would be normal. That would make sense under normal conditions. If it was just an asset that has a trillion coins out there, the market cap would have to get ridiculous in order for the value to go up. But if XRP and Ripple ends up doing what they're in the process of doing with all of the financial transactions around the world, then you're talking about tens of trillions of dollars on daily being moved around on the XRP ledger and on the Ripple blockchain. Then the value of XRP would have to go up in order to accommodate that liquidity. And so therefore you could see maybe even, I think the founder of Ripple said that he's expecting, when it's all said and done, about 14% of the market share, because Ripple won't be the only one. XRP may not be the only crypto that is assisting in the instant transactions because of its blockchain technology. But let's say it gets to 14% of the entire money flow in the world, that would bring XRP to about $1,000 per XRP.
Yeah.
And so when could that happen? I don't know. Could it be 20 years from now, or could it be 2 years from now? I mean,
so that being said, wouldn't it be more advantageous to transfer the XRP to a futures platform where you could accumulate more of it with leverage?
Well, if you know what you're doing and you do accumulate more with it, that sounds perfect. But if you buy tops and sell lows, and you use too much leverage and you get stopped out or you lose your money, then you would have been better off just holding it and sitting on it. But so it all depends. But it depends. That's like saying, would it be more advantageous for me to join a gym and go to work out 3 days a week and eat healthy, or would it be better for me to do it at home? It's like, I can't tell you what's best for you because I don't really know your current situation, but or how good you are at trading. Like, if you're a consistently profitable trader, then yes. If you're consistently losing, then you're gambling. In other words,
yeah.
Would it be better for the person to keep the $10,000 they have in their bank account or go to the casino? The possibility is that they can turn that $10,000 into more money at the casino, but the likelihood is they will not. So it all just depends. But maybe some of it. How about this? I don't know how much you have in XRP, but if you have $10,000 with XRP in Coinbase, you want to send a couple $1,000 worth of it over to Femex to grow that while you're hedging the rest. That would make more sense. That would be smarter.
Thanks.
Real quick. I had 2 questions, one following the other. Do you think we'll have another bear market? And if so, will XRP be excluded, or would it be smart to sell towards the top and then reposition towards the end of the bear market?
Yes, we'll probably have another bear market. Yes, we're going to take live trades. Kimberly, give me a sec. But, I don't just take trades every day when there's no trades to take. They have to be proper trade setups to happen. We'd be doing that right now. I did give a signal this morning already, so I don't know if you saw that in the trade signal channel. But give me 1 second here. So bear market, bull market, yes, we will see this happen probably over and over again, just like it has in the stock market for the last 100 years. Let's just look at something real quick here. I mean, this will give you an idea of, this is the past 4 bull market cycles. Halving. This is the most recent halving. Every time we go through a halving, we have usually a bull market pump to the upside, and then we have a year down to the bear market. We'll go sideways, but we're in the bull market here. It just looks like nothing's happening because we're still so low. And then we go through the halving. We have another pump to the upside. We have a bear market. We go through the halving, pump to the upside. This is 2021 bull market, bear market. We go through the halving, and we're in this bull market right now. But the bull market started back here in the end of 2022, January 2023 at 15,500. And we've been slowly climbing ever since. And we could see a pump to the upside. I don't know where it's going to be. It may not go all the way to the yellow, orange, or red like back here, but we could go to the green and yellow up here. We might just go to the green. I don't know. But So as you can see with the rainbow chart, the curve is coming around. So we're not exponentially going straight up. So we're having diminishing returns, meaning from this bull market back here, we went up like 1,000x. This one, we went up 100x. This one, we went up 10x. This one, we might only go up 6x from the bottom. So it's getting less and less and less over time, but we're going to still have ups and downs and bull and bear market cycles. I think we got the rest of this year of this bull market, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to go much higher. It could go to 140, 150. It could go down first to back to 112 and then up to 160. And that could take another month or two. So by the time I think we come into the end of the bull market, and I can go back and show you here.
Hey, Nico, quick question. On this last trade signal or whatever, I'm still in it or whatever. Like it was $24 above your call.
For which coin? Which
for Bitcoin?
Okay.
Are we still staying long on this, even though we're just above my stop loss?
Let me just go back and look and see what it looks like right now.
It hit 17,524, but it's still staying right above 17 and a half. It's at 17.8 right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still on. I mean, my stop loss is down here at the moment, but this is the floor right here, this red line. And we're still in this apex kind of, this downward trending resistance, but the floor is staying the floor. So I think that what we're waiting for is a breakout. We might bounce on this again, but I think we're going to break out here and head up. Worst case scenario, guys, is we break through the floor. And all that might happen if that happens, just so you know, because some of you might get stopped out on that signal because of where I put the stop loss. But that's just temporary, because here's what would happen. If we break through the floor here and hold a support, we could wick down possibly to maybe 15, maybe 14.5, somewhere in this level here. And worst case scenario, maybe 13, but I don't think we're going to go that low right now. But I mean, it's possible if this is really a downward trending channel like this. Let me just put this somewhere else and see, because it might not be there. It all depends. You see these? You see how I just changed that? Watch this. Did we just pop through this resistance and hold it as support, and then it's support again? Because if that's the case, then this line would be possibly right about here at the 114.5. That would be the low. And if you go back to my signal channel, you'll see that the other day, I think it was Thursday, I put this was the 19th, Friday. I put that we're either going to pop out to the upside, or we could come down below the floor. The floor is actually right here, not down here. But and wick all the way down to here, which is like the 114, which is the bottom of this downward trending resistance line that I had there, this line right here. But you see, I have this line on the top as resistance, and then underneath this as support. But the reality, it could be drawn both ways. It could be, let me just make this line here, the blue, so you can see it thicker here. So it could be underneath that as support, which does make sense as well, or it could be as resistance, and then resistance here, breakthrough, support here. I kind of like this one here a little bit better. It makes just as much sense to me, where we only wicked down to the floor once, maybe twice, break out, we hit the floor, hit the floor, hit the floor, hit the floor, and we're kind of still in the middle of this apex right now. It's having a hard time going down. So that's
it's about to break 118 back.
Yeah, so the second part of my question was if it would be a good idea to sell XRP at the end of the bull market and reaccumulate at the bottom of the bear market.
That sounds like a good idea in theory. If I knew exactly when the top would be, I would say yes, sell it. And then if I knew exactly where the bottom would be, I would tell you to buy it back then. But the problem is that we think we're at the top, you sell it, and then it shoots up higher, and then you're going to be mad you did that. That's the one unpredictable thing about crypto. There is no for sure anything with what we're doing here, guys. What we do is we do technical analysis and we determine what's the most likely thing to happen. And, you know, me personally, because I have other income, luckily, fortunate enough for me, I've invested over the years. I have real estate income. I have some passive income from rental properties and things like that. Worst case scenario, I can still pay my bills without selling crypto. And as you guys, most of you know, if you've been here long enough, I trade on a Bitcoin margin, mostly because I want to accumulate as much Bitcoin as possible, not to ever sell it, but to hopefully accumulate enough to where someday in the future I could borrow against it when it becomes collateralized and there's custodians at every bank that wants to hold it and loan against it, just like they do real estate right now. So my goal is to accumulate more XRP and Bitcoin and Ethereum over time. Those are the three majors. And when I think about selling, I have to ask myself, sell to what? Sell to what? So
or maybe at least just a percentage or percentages on the way down, something like that.
I understand, but what are you trading it for? Back to US dollars, right?
Correct.
And now, if the US dollar is strong, that's great, but the US dollar has been going down in purchasing power to the rate of 8 to 10% per year, every year for decades. So in 10 years from now, the purchasing power of the dollar will be, just do the math, 8 to 10% per year. So that's 80% less in 10 years. So that means $1 million in cash right now will have the buying power of $200,000 in 10 years. But $1 million with Bitcoin right now might be worth $10 million in 10 years. And so you're
I liked your old analogy last year about buying a suit for an ounce of gold then versus an ounce of gold for a suit now.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, yeah, a lot of people are like, well, Nico, gold has gone up in value. I know you said it didn't. No, it does. It really hasn't. The only thing that happens in life, guys, is the dollar goes down in purchasing power and value. Everything else, nothing really happens. We think real estate's going up in value. We think the Lamborghini exotic car is going up in value. We think that the Rolex watch is going up in value. We think that things are going up in value. Gold, silver. Oh, if I would have bought gold a year ago, I would have doubled my money. It was $1,500 2 years ago. Now it's $3,500. That's not because gold went up in value. It's because the dollar buying power and the value of the US dollar goes down, because over the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, that 80% of all the money supply that ever existed on planet Earth, the US dollar, 80% of it was printed in the last 4 years. Believe that. That's nuts. That's ridiculous. Inflation, depreciation of the value of the dollar. So if you just go back 150 years, back when gold coins, guys, let me just show you here. When gold coins were an ounce of gold, well, they still are gold coins. This is an ounce. So when you go back, an ounce of gold right now is $3,500 per ounce. Doesn't matter what's on it. Doesn't matter if it's a maple leaf or a panda or whatever. It's $3,500 per ounce of gold, but it's a $20 gold coin. If you look at the coin, it says $20 on it. It's a $20 gold coin. That's because when that gold coin was made 150 years ago, whenever, it was pegged to the US dollar. We were on the gold standard. So a $20 gold coin was worth $20 and a $20 bill was worth $20. And you fast forward, back then you could take a gold coin and go into a men's clothing store, as the old saying goes, flip them a gold coin. You could walk out with a 3-piece suit, top hat and a cane, new pair of shoes and a tie and a hanky and all that stuff. That was $20 in cash or a $20 gold coin. And fast forward 150 years, what does a $20 bill get you? Maybe 2 Happy Meals at McDonald's, if you're lucky. But a $20 gold coin is still an ounce of gold, and it's worth $3,500. And if you walk into a men's clothing store, even to this day, flip them the gold coin, you could walk out with a 3-piece suit, a top hat, a cane, a new pair of shoes, and a hanky. Nothing's changed.
Now you could probably get a nice pair of shoelaces.
Yes. So the gold coin is just hold its value. That's all. It's still buying the same thing it used to buy. The dollar's going down so much in value that it takes so much more of it to equal what you used to be able to buy. Think about it. Things don't get more expensive. They actually should become less expensive, because the material to make a car, the material to build a house, all this stuff is not getting harder to produce. It's easier because they're manufacturing this stuff with less expensive chemicals and, things. They're growing trees sustainably for wood. They're making artificial planks for boards and stuff like that. So things should get less expensive, but they cost more because the value of the dollar is going down. So
Did you say the value of the dollar goes down about 8 to 10% a year?
that's what I say. Yeah.
So if the trend for the bear market keeps lasting about a year, and Bitcoin, like the last cycle went down about 77%, and then the cycle before that was about 85%, wouldn't it be, wouldn't you lose less money just losing 8 to 10% versus like the 77%?
No, because you're taking in, you're forgetting how much it went up before it dropped 70%. So every bull market cycle, it went up 7,000% and then drops 75% or 50%. And then it goes up another 10,000%. So from the start of Bitcoin in 2008, 2009, Bitcoin is up over 10 million percent. And so,
yeah, right. Well,
so a dollar, back when Bitcoin was $1 for one Bitcoin, it was equal to $1, right? So what you take $1, you buy one Bitcoin, and it was worth $1. The guy who bought the 2 pizzas for $36, because that's how much the pizza was. It was $36 for 2 large pizzas. He had to use 10,000 Bitcoins to buy the 2 pizzas back in 2009. And he just wanted to be the first person to do a transaction with Bitcoin. So he found a pizza guy that would be willing to accept the Bitcoin. And he says, well, how much is $36 worth of Bitcoin? And he said 10,000 Bitcoin. So the guy agreed. He transferred him 10,000 Bitcoins. He got the 2 pizzas, and he was happy that he was the first guy to do a transaction with Bitcoin. Well, those 10,000 Bitcoins right now, times what is Bitcoin now? 117,000, let's just say. 10,000 Bitcoins times 117,000 is $1,170,000,000. So the Bitcoin he spent $1 billion for 2 pizzas. Imagine how he feels right now. Of course, he didn't know it was going to happen 10 to 15 years later with Bitcoin, but that's what the value of the 10,000 Bitcoins is now. So it's hard to compare that to the US dollar depreciation, but nothing in the history of the world, as long as I've been alive, has gone up as fast or as high as Bitcoin's value has in a decade's time.
Nico?
Yes.
What do you think about Solana?
I don't really think about it too much, to be honest with you, but
what do you think? What do you think it would do?
I think it's good. I think it's Solana, the blockchain. I mean, the payment structure is kind of like XRP. It's like instant. I don't know if you guys ever transferred Solana from like Coinbase or Crypto.com to Coinbase. It's there before you can even go check to see if it's there. It's fast, like XRP. So Solana, I believe, is in the top. It's what I would consider a mid cap or it's not a micro cap. It's pretty much up there. It's one of the top 10 cryptos. I do have some. I am holding it, and look at what it's doing right now. I mean, it's been climbing. I mean, we did even what looks like a big cup and handle here on the hourly time frame.
Do you think it will go down?
Well, I mean, it's going to go up and down over time, but down lower than its lows, probably not. So let's just go to a higher time frame. I mean, it's going to continue to go up in value. I mean, look at this. Back here, guys, when XRP, this was last year, it was $23. It's already 10x since then. Do I think it's ever going to come back down to this level? No. And look what it's doing right now. It's possibly it could be. Here's the floor down here at $1.25. I'm on the weekly time frame, by the way. So we pumped up and we're now above this level. Now we did that back here where we got above it, held a support for a couple of weeks, and then fell back below. And we got here, we went above it, we climbed all the way up to $260, even all the way up to $2.95. I'm sorry, $295 right here, all-time high, back in January of this year. And then we did come. So this, when you say, is it going to come down? Look what it did already. It went from $1.25 up to $2.95, and then all the way back down to $95. And now it's climbing back up. So I think it's going to go up before it goes down. in the short term. We do have a big, nicely, almost perfect W pattern right here. We're breaking out to the upside right here. This might actually be a good trade setup right here. So for Kimberly, who was wanting me to stop talking about other things and just trade, damn it, give me a trade setup. I read your mind. Here we are. So this could be a good one right here. I mean, we did break above and it is bouncing. I had this line already here for a reason, so I must have already talked about this on a previous call. But how high did I think it's going to go? It actually did go up this high already, but let's go look. We do have a W. We do have somewhat of a W here. On the higher time frame, let me just go up to the 4 hour and get a better look at this. This is how I analyze, guys. I look at all the different time frames first. I don't just hastily jump in. I want to look and see where is it going if it breaks this. This was major resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance, and we broke through here and we are above it now. Where is the next resistance? I would say up here. I mean, there's probably a couple resistance levels. There's one here, which is resistant. Let me get rid of some of these things. Which is resistance, support, resistance, support, resistance. Get rid of this. Because this is how you determine. You go back and look and hit it throughout. I don't know. I got all these lines here. This is just from a long time ago. And then we just bring that forward. That's probably the next resistance. And so I'm gonna go long right here just because you brought this up, Solana. I'm gonna go long right now with a little bit. I don't risk too much on some of these other ones. I feel more confident trading Bitcoin and XRP, some of the bigger ones, but because this could do anything, it could come back down and retest here. But it is in an upward trend, and it does have what appears to be possibly a little bit of a cup and handle pattern. We did hit the other side right here, maybe a small handle and a breakout already. Where would the breakout go to? Possibly right to that line, kind of where I'm saying. So I would say I'm going to lower my leverage on this one down to maybe 12x because I don't want my liquidation to be too close. I want to trade a little bit more money there. So I just went long. My liquidation is right here on the support level. I don't like that. So I'm going to see if I can lower that a little bit. And it's not enough. I'm going to go to 10. Go to 9x. So I lowered my liquidation down below this line just in case we come down and retest it. But I'm going to put a stop loss somewhere up here because there's no reason. It doesn't really matter where your liquidation is as long as your stop loss is in between. But there's a chance we could come and retest these. It looks like we did right here. You see when we popped up here, this little wick, and then you come over here. We went through it and we came down and retested already. Let me get rid of this. You can see we went through it and retested and held a support. So that would be probably my first place to put a stop loss is at $183. So I'm going to come down here to Solana. Stop loss 183 for now. That's right there. Yeah, Kimberly, she says the halvings are going to be so small, it's probably more likely smaller bull runs for BTC. So as we go into the future, as the halvings continue to cut the rewards in half for the miners, that does bottleneck the supply and demand. There's still more supply than there is available Bitcoin, and that is going down. So as more and more wallets come on board and more Bitcoin gets bought up, even by small retailers like us, some people are buying $5 worth, some people are buying $500,000 worth. But there will come a time when there is none left on the exchanges. It's just like bread, toilet paper at the grocery store during a hurricane in Florida. It's like you go to the as soon as there's like any kind of fear that people there's gonna be a run on toilet paper, people go and buy like 100 rolls. Like they think they're gonna need 2 months supply of toilet paper. And it's not that the companies aren't manufacturing anymore. It's just that the stores can't keep up with it because there's fear in the streets. Once that fear starts kicking in crypto, people feel like, oh shit, better buy some now before it's too late. There's going to be a run on Bitcoin. The problem with Bitcoin is they can't make any more. There is a limited supply. There is a finite supply. And once it's gone, what's that mean, gone? It's never going to really be gone. It's just how many people are going to want to sell. Okay, there's maybe let's just say that there's 10 Rembrandts in the world, let's just say, and there is none available for sale. No auction house, Sotheby's, nobody has one. They're in art galleries, or they're in some rich person, some billionaire's wall at his mansion or on his yacht. And then all of a sudden, Sotheby's has a Rembrandt for sale, and it's $60 million. And it gets snapped up like that. Bam. The next billionaire buys it for 60 million, and then it goes on their wall and it's out of circulation. That's a rare thing that doesn't come around very often. And when it does, it gets bought up very quickly by somebody who's rich enough to do it. And then because they're so rare, the next time it goes up for auction, it's 120 million. Then someone buys it for 120 million. Then 10 years later, it comes up for auction, and it's 210 million. And you, an average person out there looking at this going, who are these idiots that are spending $200 million on a painting? They're not idiots at all, actually. They're quite smart, because art is a tax deduction, is a tax write-off, especially if it's a collectible and it goes up in value. So what they do is they buy the $60 million Rembrandt, and then they let's just say they sold their company for $1 billion. You know how many times this happens every day out there in the world, guys? People are selling their companies for $1 billion every other day, it seems like. Something, or hundreds of millions, right? And they have this huge tax they got to pay a huge capital gains tax. So what their accountants do for wealthy people is they say, well, listen, here's a way to save $60 million on taxes. Buy a Rembrandt, buy a piece of art for 60 million, and then donate that to charity. And then you might say, well, what is the point of that? It's still going to cost me $60 million, and I've given it to charity. Okay, so I'm not giving it to the IRS, but I'm still giving it to charity. Well, the trick is that you create your own charity, your own nonprofit organization, and you donate the art to your own charity. Now you've donated it, you got the tax write-off for $60 million. And then 5 years later, that piece of art is now worth 120 million on the auction block. So what do? As the manager of the charity, you put the art up for auction for 120 million. It sells, and the money goes back into your charity. But that's not your money. That's the charity's money. But guess what? You control the charity. And what do you do with the money? You then buy the charity a brand new G5 jet that you get to fly on because you manage the charity. And you got a salary from the charity. Maybe the charity requires that you dress a certain way and that you have to be at certain events around the world, and the charity's paying for all that shit. That's what rich people do. That's how they get around all the taxes. And so these are rich people problems that you can dream about and worry about getting to someday, but don't think they're stupid for doing it. There's a reason for everything. It's just a different level of problems to get to. I used to wonder the same thing. All right, what else we want to look at, guys? Let's see, Nico, I'm hearing more chatter of a bubble forming, like your stock guy who sees a crash coming. Everything may come down, including crypto. Wouldn't we want some cash or in stable coins to buy the bottom stocks, real estate, businesses at lower prices? Yes, Marlon, great comment. And absolutely, in a perfect world, you need some ammo, you need some dry powder in order to get into these things. I mean, just look at what some of the smartest and wealthiest investors in the world are doing. Warren Buffett is liquid to the tune of like 200 billion right now, the most he's ever had in his life. Why? Why did he sell almost everything about a year ago, 8 months ago, and go liquid? Not everything, but he really got out of a lot of stocks, guys, and he's liquid right now because he's anticipating just that. When there's blood in the streets, he's famous for saying, when there's blood in the streets, that's when there's more opportunity. When people are fearful, that's when you strike. And when people are greedy, that's when you sell. In the right now in the bull market territory, when the markets are pumping really high, that's when you get fearful. That's when you start to say, hey, this might be bubble territory. Hey, this is, everybody's saying we're going to the moon. When everybody's talking about that, what are the masses? The masses are usually wrong. Masses usually don't know what they're talking about. They're just parrots. They're repeating shit that they heard on YouTube. So, but it's hard to time the tops and the bottom. It's hard to know exactly when to get out. But so that's a great question, Marlon. It's just knowing when. So is it great to have both? Is it great to hold for the long term and have some liquid capital? Guys, I mean, what does everybody want more than anything? If you asked anybody if they want money, everybody does, right? We all want money. We all want to be rich. And rich to some people means millions of dollars in the bank, right? But then you'll talk to broke people who say, oh, money in the bank, that's the dumbest thing in the world. The money's going down in value. It's not good for anything. You should invest it. So if you have, let's say you have $5 million cash in the bank and you take it and you invest it, now you don't have any money anymore. But you have assets that are supposedly going up in value at a higher rate than the value of the dollar's going down. So that sounds smart, but now you're broke because you got no money. So how many of you know people who are rich in real estate, but they have no money? I do. I know a lot. I know people who have millions of dollars in assets and they have no cash whatsoever. They have it all tied up in real estate. Is there anything wrong with that? It's a little worrisome. That's uncomfortable. I mean, it may work out in the future and it may be better in the long term. And also, if you don't have any liquid money, no one can steal it from you and no one can sue you for it. And your assets can be protected and all that stuff. But I don't know. Seems more comforting to have a lot of cash in the bank. The problem with cash is it's going down in purchasing power over time. So it's a depreciating asset. Whereas you put it into something that goes up equal to inflation and you're at least breaking even and treading water. So I know it's a lot, guys. I know it's a lot to worry about and try to comprehend. And some people just throw their hands up in the air and say, screw it. I'm just going to go, be happy. I'm going to go move to the mountains and buy a log cabin. And those people who do that might even be the happiest. I don't know. They might be. That might be all that really matters in life, guys. Just be happy. But if you're on a quest for wealth, some of us spend our whole lives trying to get it and work for it and try to figure out all these ways and be strategic and all this stuff. But to what end? You can't take it with you, right? But you can secure what, it's kind of an illusion. I hate to say it that way, guys, but it's kind of a little illusion getting rich because you can reach a certain point and you're never going to be satisfied. You're never going to think you have enough. And you're always going to be looking at someone who has more. And you're always going to be striving if you're one of those people. So that's me. However, I'm always in striving to get richer mode. But at the same time, I do still realize all that it's all bullshit at the end because you can't, no matter how much you have, you can only buy so much stuff and you can only enjoy so much of it. But I will tell you this, it is better to have it than not have it. Anyway, I get off course a little bit, but the point is that, yes, have some cash. That's basically what I was trying to say. If you can do both, but here's another problem though. Some of you are waiting too long. Like, do you remember the last bull market or bear market where everybody's like, where Bitcoin's dropping down to 20 grand? It was at 68K and it dropped down to 15. And then it got to, first it got to like 30, then it got down to 25, then it got down to 20. And everybody's like, oh, it's going to 10,000. It's going to 5,000. I'm going to wait. I'm going to buy a shitload of it when it hits 5K or 10K. And it never did. It hit 15.5. We in this group called the bottom at 17. We thought that was it. And it went down a little bit further to 15.5 and then bounced and started to climb out. If you would have went long at 17K or 20K, you've been very happy right now. But if you're one of those people that, nope, I think it's going to 10 and you just wait and it never does, you'd be really pissed off right now. So instead of trying to time the bottoms and the tops, you just got to get in the game. It's like real estate too. Some people are like, oh, are you sure you want to buy that apartment building? I mean, I think the market's getting ready to crash. I think there's going to be better opportunities. I think if you hold off a little, I don't listen to those people, especially if they have no real estate. I don't listen to them because people tell me that all the time. Oh, we're going to have a big crash in the real estate market. It's going to go and there's going to be so much available and the price is going to come down. Okay, maybe so. But I'm not buying things at top dollar anyway. I'm already buying distressed property from distressed sellers at ridiculously low prices. So to me, I already got 20, 30% off or more, 50% off. And so if the market crashes 50%, I'll still be good. But you got to just start, guys. You got to get in the game because if you're always waiting for the best price to buy, you're never going to buy anything. And if you look at Michael Saylor, he dollar cost average, but he buys every month, no matter what the price is. He doesn't care if it's high or low. But if you look at over the time he started to the time now, he's up like $14 billion. But he said he stopped worrying about bottoms a long time ago. He just buys. He doesn't care whether it's, he's actually known for buying the tops, but the tops just keep getting higher. So he keeps making money. Patrick, I know Bill answered it, but I'm going to repeat your question. Hi guys, first time here. Question on, can a US citizen use FEMAX legally? Yes. Yes. You just got to use the link, our referral link. And if you don't use our referral link, you need to use a VPN. And if you get on the our onboarding call, Bill can show you how that works. Do you go over that on onboarding, right, Bill? Not just
well, we go over the press the button so you don't have to do it. But if you do have to do it, it's very simple. Follow the instructions.
Yes. Get on the onboarding if you're new, Patrick, which is coming up at 2 o'clock today at in about 30 minutes.
Nico, I have a question.
Yes.
I've got just like on the entry, like the signal you put in earlier. I'm not sure if it's because of my margin is lower, maybe a lot lower than yours. What's the minimum amount to use, like an account or margin, and able to get that 117.5 stop loss for that particular signal, for example? So I'm getting stopped out. It seems like majority of the time on the signals,
Yeah, so if you're using high leverage, your liquidation is going to be much closer to your entry, and you're not going to really have room to put a stop loss in. But if you're putting your stop loss exactly where I say to put it, then that could be a problem, because exactly where I say I'm putting mine, that could be a problem because my margin and everything is different than yours. So let me just show you. See, this is why I do this, guys. If you look into the signal channel, this is why I say, like this one, entry 118,580, stop loss 15%. Mine is at 119,440. If you take a trade, don't put it at 119,440, put it at 15% of your entry. And if yours is different than 119,440, so be it. The only reason mine's at 119,440 is because of the amount of leverage and the amount of margin I'm using. And it might be different from you. 15% for you. Let's go back to the trade chart. Let's just say I go and place a trade right here. And let's say I'm using 20% of my margin over here. And let's go to Bitcoin margin. Let's just look at it different, since I'm not in a Bitcoin trade right now. I'm not in a trade on my Bitcoin margin right now. But let's just say I want to slide this to 20% of my account balance. So that says 22,000 contracts if I go long, 22,540 if I go short. But if I change my leverage, watch this, it's at 19.6. If I move that down to 14x, watch this right here. It says 22.5. But if I change this to 14x, it goes to 16.1. So if I go long at 14x at 20% of my account balance, I am playing with 16,000 contracts. But if you put yours to 20%, but you don't have the same amount of money I have in your account, your 20% is going to be different than my 20%. So and this is where a lot of the confusion comes from, guys. When you see some of the signals, you try to put yours exactly like mine and you get stopped out, and you're wondering why I'm not stopped out. Hey, Nico, I see that you're still in that trade. I got stopped out. How did you not get stopped out? Sometimes I do get stopped out. Sometimes our trades are very similar to each other, but sometimes my margin is different than yours, and my leverage is different than yours. And I don't put the leverage in. Like if I go in here, you don't see me put what my leverage is in here. So you didn't even know what leverage I'm using. So yours is different. All you really need to see here is the entry and the mine's at 15% and the TP. Your TP is going to be exactly the same as mine. Your entry can be exactly the same as mine, but your stop loss could be a little different depending on your margin. And so there is another way to do it. And this is probably the better way to do it when you're new and you're not sure.
But like you also said, Nico, if you're new and you're still learning, you should only run a 10% leverage or whatever.
That's right. So if you're yeah, I agree. If you're brand new and you're still just getting your feet wet, keep your leverage low, 10x or less. By the way, just remember when you're looking at this leverage, 14x, 20x, whatever, that's not percentage. That's X. That the difference is big. This is not 18%, it's 1,890%.
Thank you very
Just
much.
move that decimal and just take that decimal out and look at 1890. That's 1,890%. That's huge.
Hey, Nick, I was listening to the video from Chad because I'm new on the Crypto Renegades. He said in the video that you should not expose more than 4% of your capital for every trade, and you're telling us 10%. So I don't know which of them is which.
Okay, good question. So if I put my account balance at 10% of my account, right? 10%. That's what we tell you to do. 10% of your account balance on any given trade. Don't risk more than 10% of your account balance, right? And then I go long, and then I put a 10% stop loss on that trade. Then I'm really only risking 1% of my entire account balance on that trade.
All right.
Which is less than even what Chad said.
Okay. 10% of account balance, then 10% of
yeah. So if I have $1,000 in my account, that's all I put in my account, but I want to risk 10% of that on a trade. That means I'm going long with $100 of margin. $100 is 10% of 1,000, right? Now, if I put a 10% stop loss on that, that means I'm only risking 10% of my $100, which is $10. And $10 is 1% of my entire account balance of $1,000.
Okay. Okay. So one more thing. I'm just a pretty new baby in this business. So sometimes when I look at some of these trend lines, and so the question is, do you place the trade based on trend lines, or you just have to again, I don't know how to put the question. So do you place the live trades based on the trend lines? Because the little I've read, and before I joined the Renegades team group, was that you have to draw your distal and proximal lines and take the long tool. And when you place the long tool on the proximal line, it gives you where the stop loss is. You can now use your cursor to adjust your stop loss very close below your distal line. If you're going long, then you use your cursor again to take it to the top so that you have like they call it 5-to-1 reward to risk ratio.
Yeah, risk to reward. So let me show you guys what he's talking about right here. So this, and Chad teaches this, and I think we have videos of this somewhere. Bill probably has them, and you guys should all watch it. So let's just say this is my BTC margin chart. Now, sometimes I just go long and I'll put the signal in the group. But if you really want to know how to, I mean, obviously you do want to know how to do this, but once that's because I've already done this so many times, it's easy for me to just guesstimate where my take profit target is and my stop loss. I put my stop loss at 10%, and some of you get stopped out when that happens. But what is the alternative of getting stopped out? if it goes against you, and that is going negative and getting liquidated. So the stop loss is important, but what he's talking about is this. You're going to come over here and you're going to go to, it's the third one, I'm sorry, the fourth one down right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click the little arrow and you can see I have these starred at the top. Long position, short position. So let's say I want to go long. I'm going to click long and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to do it right here on the support and I'm going to click the button. Boom. Going to put this on here. And then I'm going to put this up to where I think the TP is, right?
Correct.
This blue line is. And I'm going to, okay, so what this is showing me is that if I go long here, it's telling me if I put my stop loss down here under this line right here, this is the red zone. So you're going to allow it to go this far negative to get this far positive. And if you look right here, my risk to reward ratio is 1.95. That's 1 to 1 basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up.
All right.
About right here. That's 3. So that's a 3 to 1 risk to reward. That means if I put my stop loss right here and it goes down and hits it, I'm risking $1 to make $3 on the upside. If I move this up here, now I just went to a 4 to 1 risk to reward ratio right here. That means I'm not risking more than that, right? My risk to reward is 4 to 1. And if I have a really tight stop loss, which sometimes you guys see me do, really tight, which is just right under this wick down right here, then my risk to reward is 10 to 1. But I'm also likely to get stopped out. So you guys get mad when you get stopped out, but my risk to reward is so freaking high because yes, if I get stopped out, I'm losing a little bit. And the reason why you guys lose too much is because you're either too much leverage or too much margin on that trade. And so you guys got to figure out, you guys got to get your risk to reward dialed in first. And so get on the basis call and get on the onboarding call, get on the basis call and ask Bill about this, or get on one of Chad's calls because he's good at this. But all you do is you come over here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you're going, now let's say I'm going short. I just click the short one here and I do the same thing. Let's say it breaks through this level. I'm going to put this here and then I'm going to think that it might go down to here. And I'm going to put my stop loss right above this downward trend line right here. And that is a 2.39 to 1 risk to reward if it goes down. So this is a great tool, especially if you're new guys. It basically figures it out for you. And you can decide by adjusting this right here. It's showing risk to reward ratio 4.4. So if I want if you put this too far away, guys, like if you put your stop loss way down here, that's not good. You might want to get your stop loss out of the way so that it doesn't get hit. And you're like, well, if I just move my stop loss out of the way, it's eventually going to go up. And I'm gonna get stopped out a lot less. Yes, but if it goes down here and hits your stop loss down here, guys, you are risking all of this to possibly make this, which is the equal amount that you're risking. That's not a good risk to reward ratio. So I would have a tighter stop loss and risk getting stopped out for the potential of it going up and making me a lot more money. That's me personally, but you always want to have at least a 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. So that would be right here, at least 3 to 1. That's what Chad teaches. That's what he prefers. Bill, you got anything you want to add to that?
Just start at the stop loss price. You know what I mean? If you find out where your safety net is first, enter that first.
So let's just do that. So let's just say after doing what I just did, the stop loss was down here at 3 to 1 risk to reward ratio. That is where you want to enter the position. So that's I believe that's what you mean, Bill. So
well, yeah, that's one way. Your entry, put your entry where your stop loss would be. But when folks are calculating their risk to reward, the easiest thing to do is to enter the stop loss into the order panel first. And then they can enter the number of contracts and they can see exactly how much they're going to lose right there.
Yeah. So let's say I want a 3 to 1 risk to reward. The 3 is right here. Then you don't enter this, but you could enter it right here on the bounce when it goes long, but you could also enter it once it hits where your stop loss would have been. Boom, that's where you enter. That would be.
I've been doing that a lot lately, and it works really well. Actually, it works pretty well.
So you put this on your chart. You just put it like this right here. And if you haven't entered a position yet, you wait to see if we're going to bounce here and break out of this. I mean, if we break out above this downward trend line here, then we probably will go up. But if it does fall below this line, guys, it could just wick down to here, could wick right down to this line, boom, and bounce. That's where you would enter. Where your stop loss would have been. And then what? You put your stop loss 3% away from that entry.
Yeah, further away.
Or 10% away from that entry or whatever. So your stop loss would be down here at that point.
Okay, 10% from the entry. Okay, gotcha. Can you could you right click on that and place your order instead of going to like
Instead of going over here to the buy box?
Yeah, yes. I just want to see if it can be done.
I don't know. I never did. I don't see any option to do it.
Okay, okay, makes sense. Okay. So Bill, I'm actually at work. I just have to take, I'll soon be out of because I'm still at work. I have maybe later tonight or tomorrow when I'm working from home. I have some questions I wrote down on my notes because I really want to succeed and I'm still trying to understand.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'm still trying to understand. Everything looks like a whole lot of magic to me right now. So hopefully tomorrow I will have questions. Please forgive me in advance.
No,
No matter
never
how dumb
apologize.
no matter how dumb the question is, I'll ask a lot of dumb questions because I listen and I take notes. So I will have to and I don't have the notes in my office right now. So maybe later tomorrow when we connect, I will be able to ask those questions and so that I can start to listen my first trade. I was able to move $1,000 from Coinbase to Fimex. That was last week when I joined. When I onboarded. So I've not done anything on that. I've just been looking at the mock trades that was from our the road how to trade BTC. That's one of the videos I'm going through on Discord. So hopefully tomorrow I should be asked questions. Maybe I should be able to, while you're doing it, able to transfer to trade account and hopefully place a trade with you while you're doing that. And I'll be very happy because I've not done nothing. I'm just watching the videos. Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I appreciate your questions and it helps other people too. So never apologize. It doesn't matter if you're new guys. This is why we're here to help you get this and understand it.
Yeah.
And there's people here that are not even new who benefit from your questions because they maybe were scared to ask or didn't even think to ask.
Trust me, when I hear some of this, so when I hear some people talk on this platform, and we're like, wow, when will I get to this kind of length of height of knowledge? They speak way beyond what I know. But see, but I believe hopefully I'll be able to flow with them, flow like them maybe soon, hopefully.
Absolutely. Just keep going. Listen, guys, there's really no secret to success at this or anything else. And Nike has a good slogan called "Just Do It." That's the first step to getting started in anything. You just got to do it. I mean, as simple as that sounds, everything good that I've ever done that worked out well was because I just did it. And then the next thing is never quit. I mean, these sounds like cliches, but guys, the only way you can ever fail is if you quit before you succeed. And you might, and if you're trying something for a really long time and it's still not working, first you have to ask yourself, did it work? Has it worked for anyone else? Because if you're trying to do something that's never been done before, then I would start to worry after a while, a couple of years, if it's not working because you just, just not making something work. But if you're doing something that other people are doing successfully, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And the when comes from when you stop doing the things they're not doing. When you've eliminated all the wrong decisions and you eliminated all the things that don't work and you've boiled it down to just what does work, then all of a sudden things start clicking. It's as simple as this, guys. If I threw you a 4-digit combination lock, the kind that you had when you were in high school on your locker, if I just threw one of those to you and said, open it, let's see if you can guess the numbers, how long would it take you to open a 4-digit combination lock by guessing? I mean, there's 10,000 possible combinations. It could take you weeks or years or your lifetime to figure it out. There's only so many, right? Combinations. You might eventually get it, but it would take you a long time and you would get very frustrated and you would probably throw that lock 100 times before you figured it out.
Or you could grab a set of bolt cutters and come to Nico's class and he'll teach you how to just cut the lock open.
There you go. That's a shortcut. The other option is just for someone to give you the 4-digit numbers in the right sequential order. And as soon as you do that, it opens just like that. And that is having a formula or a recipe. And that's where so many people would rather struggle on their own. Men do this too when they're refusing to ask for directions when they're lost. We struggle for no reason. We do. We kind of put ourselves in our own pickle jar sometimes, and then we make excuses as to why we do it. When the reality is me personally, when I want to learn something that's above my grade level that I don't understand, I would rather pay someone to tell me. Just give me the freaking information. Here's money. How much you want? I've gone to conferences, guys. I've gone to webinars. I've gone to seminars. I've gone to boot camps. I've done all that throughout the years. I probably spent multiple six figures in my lifetime. If my mother knew how much money I spent back in the day when I was struggling to make ends meet, how much money I was literally paying other people to learn shit, she would probably have me put into an insane asylum. I was a information junkie. I was wanting to learn everything, and I was paying for the information. And I did learn a lot. Now, there were some things I paid for that didn't work out for me, but was it their fault? No, probably my fault for having shiny object syndrome and wanting to, I get excited about something, and then 2 weeks later, I'm excited about something else. And I'm no longer into that thing that I just paid $5,000 to learn about. But I did get a lot of knowledge from it, and I also still have access to that, and I can always go back to it. But the point is that it's the success rate isn't because the people teaching it aren't teaching it. It's because the people that are trying to learn it aren't paying attention or don't do the thing that they're being taught. And I see that happen a lot in here, guys. No offense to anybody, but it's a lot of people join Crypto Renegades and just not do anything for weeks or months. Sometimes they just watch, or they just go on vacation. Imagine if you went to the grocery store, you spent $300 on groceries, you brought it all home, and you just left it all on your countertops and then went on vacation for a month and came back. Would you go to the grocery store and say, hey, I got ripped off, I bought all this stuff and it all went bad? Would it be the grocery store's fault or yours for not using it or not storing it properly? And so I know I come up with some dumb analogies sometimes, guys, but the truth is that we are our own worst enemy sometimes. We're the ones getting in our way. We're the ones not taking the action steps. We're the ones not doing what needs to be done. And usually it's from people who know what they should do and they still don't do it. I see this with people who are overweight, with heart problems, with diabetes, and people who are eating themselves to death. I know they know what to do and what not to do. They just don't do it. They're addicted to sugar. They're addicted to alcohol. They're addicted to all kinds of things. They know what's right and what's wrong. They don't need anybody telling them to quit smoking. How many of you smokers have been told you should stop smoking a million times? Does that help when someone says that to you? Hell no.
Oh, I know the food and exercise one very well, Nico. As being a personal trainer, I'm like, oh, I only had one cheat day, or they said I'll start coming to the gym next week and start training. Like, you just got to get in there and do it. You're not going to get the results you want, and then people don't want to stay calorie deficit either. They think they can still eat what they want and go to the gym and still think they're going to make a difference.
Yeah, guys, that's why there is a 1% in the world. It's easy to say. It's hard to grasp. It's hard to wrap your head around sometimes, and it's hard to even accept it because it pisses you off. But the truth is that the reason why there's only 1% of the human population running around looking like beach body models with ripped abs is because only 1% is willing to do what it takes to get to that level. It's very difficult. It's not easy. And when it comes to getting rich on your own and not inheriting the wealth and not getting it from your rich uncle and not getting lucky with the lottery, when it comes to actually earning the money, it's very difficult sometimes. And that's why there's so few people that build successful companies and get rich, because few people have the stick-to-itiveness and the mental fortitude to just make shit happen and really just go until they get it. And so I know I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of you. That's why you're here. You guys are an elite group of people who, you go above and beyond. You did pay for the program. You did step up and get out of your comfort zone. You are here. You're showing up to the calls. You're trying to take the action steps you're doing. All I can say is never quit and just keep doing it, because that is people like I can see on the screen here, William and Joshua and Bill and Kimmel. And, I know there's a lot more here that I'm just seeing like little screenshots here. People who've been here for a long time. Let me look for some more here. There's 152 people on this call, so it's hard to see. But there's a lot of people. Arash, people who finally got it and just started kicking ass. But it took a while. Like they actually lost some trades first. They actually got stopped out a bunch of times. They actually had to start over a couple times. There's some people who blew up their accounts a couple times. And it pains me to see that, because sometimes I feel responsible for that. But the reality is when I actually get on one-on-ones with them and they're willing to show me what they're doing, they're not doing exactly what we're teaching. They're actually taking, in other words, when someone loses $1,000, instead of trying to risk $100 to build it back, they try to risk $2,000 to make the $1,000 back quicker, and they end up losing the $2,000 because it's greed. There's all kinds of different things set in. Like you feel like you're under pressure to make back what you lost, and you literally need to make twice as much just to break even. And this is a slippery slope, guys. So I would rather you, this is why we say at the beginning, we would rather you become consistently profitable, even with a small amount, like money that doesn't even matter to you, $10, $20. If you can become consistently profitable to the point where you know that if you make 20 trades, you're going to win 15 or 18 of them because you're just consistent now. Then you can increase your account balance. Then you can go with more money. Then you can add more money to your account.
Quick question, Nico. Are we going to re-enter? I got stopped out on this last one. It wasn't bad, but it
Bitcoin?
pulled back up. It popped all the way down to 17.3. Past the 17.5 stop loss, but it looks like it's starting to move back up. It's got a little momentum, not much.
Yeah, I would wait. Wait a minute here because it's still above that. I mean, yeah, my stop loss was a little lower than that because I got in before at a different amount. But yeah, this is a tough one here, guys, because when I gave the signal, we were breaking above this line right here. We were above this and held as support and started to climb. So I put a stop loss right here under this wick. And so when we wick down below that, that was more risk. You probably could have had a stop loss down here and avoided just getting stopped out right now, but you are risking more when you do that. I would just rather you risk less. That's all. So getting stopped out is part of the game sometimes, but yes, as far as whether you should re-enter or not, I would wait for it to get back above this line. In fact, I actually moved this line since then. Let me show you where I have it now. I took this line from the very tip top of this wick here, and I touched the tops of all these here. And when I touch the tops of all of these here, boom, 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 and bring it out and leave those touched, then it's possible that we never held above this line that way. If I touch these two, which is where it was when before we broke out, but when I do it this way and I just touch the tops, it looks like we went above, came back below, went above, held a little bit right here, and then fell back below. So I would say that we are in this apex right here, and I would wait for a breakout first before re-entering. It's either gonna come hit this line and bounce and come out. So here's what I would do. To whoever asked that question, I apologize, I didn't see your name, but
Rich Viking, Rich.
Yeah, okay, Rich. Draw a resistance line from the tip top of all of these on any time frame. I'm on the 10-minute right now, but let's just say you draw a line touching the tops, not the candles, but the candle wicks. And I would and then the floor is right at 116.9 or 117. I would say like 116.9 to be more precise. And then when you look at that, it looks like an apex. We have a floor that we're holding a support, and we have a ceiling that's getting lower and lower and lower. So we have highs, lower highs, and lower highs. And by the way, guys, before we get any further, I just want you guys to know that the onboarding is starting right now. So if you're brand new in here, you need to click the link that Bill has posted inside the Zoom chat. He posted it right here, 2 p.m. Eastern onboarding. He also posted it in the Discord group right here under announcements, right there, onboarding. And he also posted it in the trade chat right here, onboarding. So you can't miss it, guys. Make sure you get on that if you're new. And if you're a week or two old new, I still recommend. I don't know, Bill, do you actually want, he's probably not even on here anymore, but I don't know if he even wants people to get on it weekend over and over and over again. But if you're still feel new, even if you've been on an onboarding before, get on it. Okay. All right, let's get back. That's starting right now. We're going to wrap this call up too, but let me just go back over here and finish what I was saying. I would wait for a breakout. I'm not even in a trade on BTC, on my BTC margin. I was getting ready to enter one just to give an example, but I am in a trade on my USDT margin. So let's go back over there, and I am still a bit negative because my entry is way up here. That's why I did not want you guys to get in last night, because I was taking a higher risk trading at what I thought was going to be a breakout over here the other day. So
I'm still in a long on my XRP.
Yeah, I'm still long on XRP as well, and I believe I'm in profit on XRP. XRP, yep, I'm up a little bit. I'm up 42% on my XRP trade. I am up on Ethereum, I am up 108% on my Ethereum trade that I just did. And on
Yeah,
this,
I'm up 52, 51, 52% on my XRP.
all right, good for you. And on Solana, we're up a little bit as well. The only thing I'm negative on is my Bitcoin, and that's because I got in that entry over the weekend when I shouldn't
So
have.
I don't know if you've seen in the chat about a week ago or whatever. I left Arizona, went to Louisiana for a little bit. Now I'm here in Orlando, Florida. So I decided to be closer to you instead of Chad. And
Yeah.
I got back into trading after I got my move done. I turned $45 into $1,500 in about 5 days.
Nice.
It doesn't take that much. I started off with $145. I used 33%. I used $45 in my first trade, and I kept doing what you guys taught me or whatever about as long as I see my position going the way I want, just to add 1-2% of my margin as I go, and I climb from there.
Very good, very good. Send me a message and let me remind me of what you just said. I'm going to probably invite you to have Bill do a call with you, because it's good to see when relatively new people get it. And you can just, because here's what's going to happen. Just because you said what you said, people are going to message you and they're going to want to know what you're doing, as if you're doing some magic thing that we're not talking about here.
I'm not. I know, but everybody used to make fun of me or whatever. I mean, in the very beginning, and saying it to Chad too or whatever. Like, because I would post like my wins or whatever, but I was only winning like 20, 30, $40, but I'm getting like 10, 20 wins a day, even though I'm only gaining 20, $30 a pop, but I'm still making like $300-400 in a couple days period or whatever. And like I said, it was my learning curve. It's the way I did it, and it's the way I felt safe, and the way I felt comfortable.
That's right. I'm proud of you, man. Good job. Good job. And just keep doing it. Guys, this is what it looks like. You're going, and it doesn't look like you're making any money. You have some wins,
Thanks,
you have some
Lisa.
losses. Thank you, man. You have some wins, you have some losses. You're going, you have some wins, you have some losses. You're going. And then here's the learning curve, guys. After a little while, and you start to figure things out, and you stop doing the things that aren't working, and you start paying attention, and you start adjusting things, and you start tweaking things and pivoting and eliminating the things that aren't working, then it's like this, and then it becomes exponential. It really is like this. It's called the J curve effect too, and it's basically like that. It's kind of like trading ICOs. We have a J curve, but the learning curve, that's why they call it a learning curve, because in the beginning, it may seem like, oh, I just can't get this. Oh man, I don't understand. But all of a sudden things click and you make $30. Okay. The next trade, you're making 10% on an account that has $30 more in it. The next trade you're risking 10% of an account that has $30 more in it. And before you know it, this starts to grow and grow and grow. And now let's say you had $1,000 down here. Now you got 10,000 up here. You're still risking 10% of your account balance. You're still making 10% on the trade, but your 10% is on 10,000 now instead of 1,000. And things just start to grow exponentially from there. So just keep that in mind, that it may seem slow in the beginning, but I always tell people on the live calls and on the webinars, if you can make 100 grand or 500 grand in your first year, you'd probably be pretty happy, right? Trading. But what if I told you that the majority of that money, let's just say it's 500 grand, the majority of that money won't come until month 10, 11, and 12. And in the first 8 or 9 months, you're hardly making anything. Would you still be as excited? The truth is you could still make that much in a year, but it's the learning curve will make it so that it's the end of the year, because that's when things finally start to click, and that's when things start to go ballistic for you. All right, someone asked me about the M pattern. I got to get on another call here soon coming up here, guys, but here's a little M pattern right here. This is I'm only on the 10-minute time frame, so this may not mean anything, especially because we are in a downward trending resistance, and there's probably lots of M's I can find. So I wouldn't overly worry about that. But what it could mean is a little bit of a drop in the short.
It's the 1 hour, Nico, that was concerning me.
Okay. So it's possible that because of this little thing, we drop down a little bit, but maybe not. It may not matter at all because we are in an apex. But as you can see, it's bouncing right on this line. Why did I put the line there? It's kind of obvious to me that we have some resistance at a downward angle, resistance and resistance and support at a downward trending angle. Right? So when you draw that line there, that does look like a tilted M, and the M's tend to break to the downside. But how far? Even if it does break to the downside, let's just say it's this far, which is probably going to be in line with some of these wicks that wick down here, and it could just suck right back up. So I'm not worried about it. My stop loss is down here. My liquidation is down here. If it does get below this red line and retest as resistance and starts to drop, then I will worry about that at that point. I might close it and take the loss, and then once it bounces, go long. That's why I didn't give that signal, because I don't want you guys to take the same risk I take. Sometimes I'm ready to take it. So when I give a signal, that's more for you guys. That's less risky. And this one still got stopped out, but it's still much less risky than my entry back here before we even broke out of anything. Now we are positive on the few that I gave on this call: Ethereum, Solana, and XRP, all in the green right now. That's good. And you can move your stop losses to break even on those. Keith asked if I can look at Link. On the lower time frames, at first glance, it looks like we are in a upward trending support. And if I
Well,
go
last question for you, Nico. You think we'll break XRP's all-time high today?
I don't know about today, but well, what was the all-time high?
3.6661.
366.
366.61 for Phoenix. A couple of exchanges were 365.
Maybe this week for sure.
I mean, we're only like 3 cents, 4 cents away, 5 cents away.
Oh yeah. It could happen today. Sometimes we have a little consolidation. I mean, how far downward do we come from the all-time high? Let me just go back and look. Here's let me just talk about this first. This is Link. Link is on an upward trend, but if we zoom out to a higher time frame, what is actually happening? That's what you got to do, guys. Don't just look on these little pumps. Now we got a nice W on Link on the daily. That's a potential big move to the upside, and not only that, but it is already breaking out to the upside. So let's look at this possible giant W here. Whoops. Wrong tool. Boom.
But wasn't our last all-time high 345?
For what?
Our last all-time high for XRP was 345, wasn't it?
I think we talked about that earlier, but I can't remember what we said. 345, 355, something like that. Yeah, we already made a new all-time high this past week. I mean, that the all-time high, I guess, was this past week. So we got a little W here on Link, guys. Now it hasn't been on. We can only go back so far, January 2025 on Femex. So I can't see the rest of the chart, or where we're coming from. But it could be that we're ready to pop up to the upside, and this would bring us probably up to right there. So I would say resistance at 27 bucks. That looks actually very doable. Matt, just for the hell of it, I'll go long. No, maybe not. Can't go long. I don't have much money.
Check out a couple that I found last night.
Talking to me?
When you're done here, imminent breakouts, optimism, and SEI. SEI.
Are you talking to me? Because you're breaking up. Are you talking to someone else? I don't even know who's talking. So anyway, this is Link. That looks like a potential pump to the upside, imminent, and $27 is the target.
He said there was a possible imminent breakout on SEI.
I just don't know if he's talking to us. Let's look at it.
I'm curious too, because I used to trade on a little SEI myself for a little bit. I haven't looked at it in a bit.
Yeah, we have a similar situation here. We have an overall downward trending kind of wedge. I don't think it's quite there yet. It's still in the apex. It's in the pattern, but yeah, I mean that's kind of what it looks like right here. I would say that we would want it to break out of this downward trending resistance first. That's a potential. You guys might want you to keep note of these. And then Keith, you talking about the one we were just on link? Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah, high in the 50s. It could get back up there, guys, but this little W down here on link looks like it's poised to break out right now. Keep an eye on that. Thank you, Felisa. I'm glad. All right, guys, get on go get on Bill's basics call, even if you're not new. I know he prefers new people on there, but it's good. You might be missing something. You might be something that you think you did or you're supposed to do when you first got started that you didn't do. It's a great call to be on. This right here, this SEI, not only is it doing this little, little down and up, but it's getting lower highs and lower highs. So a breakout is imminent here in this channel somewhere. But at the same time, we also might be getting ready to form a W here as well from the support, resistance, and the breakout. If it does break out here, that would
You look at one more. You got a second to look at one more coin.
right up to this level right here at the $1.03 on SEI. Yeah, go ahead.
What about SUI? 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 It looked like it's doing the same thing as SEI is.
Another W and a possible breakout imminent on the higher time frame. This is the daily, so keep that in mind. We go down to like the hourly.
Yeah, I'm looking at the daily too.
I mean, we do have an upward trend on the hourly, very similar to Link and some of these other ones. Everything is trending up right now, guys, and we do have some.
Optimism
This right here looks like
was
an
another one.
apex. Hold on one second, guys. This looks like an apex right here. The reason why we have upward trending support and we have resistance here where it's very obvious that we hit, flat line, broke above, came back below, and hit already. So that is a resistance level right there at $4.06, $4.07. We are winding into the apex. Breakout is imminent on SUI. It's either going to break to the upside and hold as support or break to the downside. But I would bet for the upside here. We're bullish right now. The whole market is bullish. Good information coming out from the government. A lot of good positive stuff happening. And we are coming up from a higher low. So that's all good. All right. Say again. I'm sorry. There was something else. Somebody was saying something.
Optimism. OP.
OP?
Actually, what Femex is built on.
Yeah, I had some charts drawn on this not that long ago. Some strange wave action that I had drawn on here for some reason. I mean, it is coming back up, but the overall, I mean, we do see some lower lows here. We have a giant head and shoulders on the weekly. I mean, I would say that this is not something I personally would be trading or looking at right now. It's really nothing obvious. I mean, there is a little bit of an apex here, obviously. So I would say I'd wait for that breakout, just like everything else. And we're bouncing on the bottom of it, so it does look like it's catching some greenery here. So if it comes up and breaks out, that might be a good entry for OP. Anything else? I gotta call it at 2:20, so I got 5 minutes, but I got to get ready for it. Let's see. Makes me feel better. Lots going on. We will all get there. I don't post. Yes, Rebecca. Guys, just trust me on this. I hate it when people say trust me on something, but trust me on this. As long as you keep showing up and you keep tuning in and you keep actually taking action, not just watching, not just being a fly on the wall. I mean, you will learn stuff just watching. but you also watch other people make money, and you'll be like, damn, I should have. I was going to get in on that, but I didn't. Oh, I was going to go long on that, but I didn't. And it only takes so many of those before you finally just do it, right? It's like everything else. We got personal trainers on here. It's like exercising. It's like getting in shape. Sometimes we got to look at ourselves in the mirror enough times and be disgusted enough times before we finally just do it and get in shape, right? Sometimes we got to just take that one last puff off the cigarette before we finally just feel disgusted that we're still smoking before we quit permanently. Sometimes.
I do have to ask you, Nico, are you really on the carnivore diet?
Oh, yeah.
It's a good
For
diet.
a year and a half now.
Feel better?
Amazing. I talk about it a lot. There's links in the Discord
Oh,
group.
no, I recommend people. I put people on the carnivore diet quite a bit.
Yeah, it's changed my life, actually. I mean, I lost like 70 pounds in 8 months, and everything got better. Blood pressure, triglycerides, everything. My cholesterol went up a little bit, but it was already low, so it only went up to what I think is normal. And I don't even care about that at this point because we need cholesterol. There's so many myths.
Yeah, cholesterol is stupid.
Yeah,
I do a cross between fasting and carnivore diet.
Yeah, me too. I'll do what's called OMAD, which is 1 meal a day. I'll do that at least 2 or 3 times a week, where I'll just not eat anything until like 5 or 6 in the afternoon, and then I'll just have a big 2-pound ribeye steak with butter on it. And
yep, between 1 and 6. 1 and 6 is my meal time. 3-day fast, 2 days eat, 3-day fast.
Yeah, guys, I know some of you are just hearing about this. Some of you are brand new. If you're interested in that kind of stuff, just send me a DM. I got a lot of links I can send you from MDs, PhDs, and metabolic experts, not just from me. Don't take it from me. Go learn about it. But if you're a heavy, overweight, high blood pressure, borderline diabetic, any of those things, cure yourself. Don't get on any meds. Don't do any of that bullshit. Don't get on statins or blood pressure lowering medication, or any of that stuff. Cholesterol lowering medications. That stuff will kill you. Do it all metabolically. Do it through diet. If you just cut out carbs and sugar, as simple as that sounds, hardest thing in the world to do if you're addicted to sugar. But if you can just cut out those things and do that for 30 days, your life will change. Everything will change. You'll feel better. You'll look better. You'll have more energy. You won't be sore anymore. You won't have any inflammation. It's actually life changing. It's amazing. I actually even posted videos on it on my YouTube channel. I was so sold on it and so convinced that it was like the cure all for everything that I was going to actually I was going to try to create products around it because whenever I get really good results with something, guys, myself, I don't ever preach to anybody to do anything until I've done it and I saw the results and it was life changing for me. That's the only time I start telling everybody. And it happened with me when people started asking me what I was doing. I don't just go and tell people, oh man, I'm doing this carnivore, you should do it. I wait until I get results first. And then I was even worried that I might even be, going to hurt myself by doing it. And maybe the long term it wasn't good. So after a year of doing it, I went and got blood work again for like the 5th time. And then I got a CAC score, a calcium or arterial calcium score to make sure there wasn't no, arteries being blocked or anything like that. And it came back 0, even better than before I started. So listen, I was totally convinced. And everybody who I know who has done it has gotten ridiculous results. And the fat just falls right off when you do it. And you're getting more nutrition than anything you ever need. Moni says, how do I say no to cake? It's very difficult. Trust me, I was addicted to sugar for a long time. And my cravings come late at night. My ex-girlfriend, she used to tell me, just don't buy it. If you just don't have it in your house, you won't eat it. And I'm like, yeah, right. There's a store up the road. I have a car. That doesn't stop me. Good for you. Zachary, I lost 50 pounds since November. I know we get off track sometimes on this call, guys, but we're here to help. If that helps you, listen, we got people in this group. We got a guy in this group who lost 60 pounds from being in this group because he was inspired by my little carnivore story. And he says that the price he paid for Crypto Renegades saved his life. It was worth every penny. That's totally separate from making money in crypto. So I love hearing stuff like that, guys. And this may not be for everybody. Some of you are vegetarian, some of you, and I have nothing against any of that. I just know what works for me. And a lot of times the vegetarians are not getting all the nutrition they need from the vegetables, and vegetables have oxalates and some other toxins that could be causing inflammation. So you might want to look into it if you have health issues or autoimmune diseases or any problems whatsoever. You might want to look into it because it's really saving a lot of people out there. And but if you're interested, just send me a DM and I'll send you the links. And I think Bill actually posted it in the audiobook library. in our Discord. If you go to the audiobook library, there is carnivore diet info and all the links that I shared from all the different doctors and MDs and PhDs and thoracic cardio heart surgeons who all have now gotten their patients on it because it's the only thing that works without medication, in my opinion. Yeah, Jessa. Jessa says, if your body's craving sugar, nice to see you, Jessa. I haven't seen you in a long time. If your body's craving sugar, it's because you need more protein. And Jessa knows about health and nutrition. If you saw her, you would know that that's true. Thank you. Good. Thanks. Good to hear from you. Rivers, the parasites want the sugar. Yep. Cancer, all these things, guys. Everything bad comes from overconsumption of sugar. Your body doesn't need it. And it doesn't even need carbs. I know a lot of you think that it does, but you don't. Your body produces ketones. If you don't have carbs, it'll just fix the problem itself, which by producing ketones. And then there's so much. I don't even want to go into it right now. I got to get off this call. I can talk about shit like this forever, so I don't want to bore you guys, but I will let you know if I see any changes. Right now on XRP, we are up. I'm up 45% on that trade. On Solana, I'm up 2%. On Ethereum, I'm up 120% on the trade that we just did on this call. So happy trading. Have a great rest of your day. If you want more information about Carnivore, text me and just be on the lookout in the signals channel. I will let you know if I see any breakouts here, but I think Bitcoin, going into the week here, guys, we're going to have another run up for all-time highs. We could see a little dip first. That always happens every once in a while, but as far as I'm concerned, I think we are going to shoot up a little higher here soon. So I'll let you know if I see that happening. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thank you, Nico.
Thanks, Nico.
I think I just shared my screen again instead of ended the call.
Thanks, Nico.